Hi friends, my name is Nikki and I am the host of Source Clarity. Today we're going to focus in on romantic relationships, attracting a high frequency romantic relationship, and we're going to talk about what most of the manifestation world or law of attraction world doesn't focus in on. We're going to focus in on attracting romantic relationships from the perspective of source energy. Now, when we refer to source, we're referring to the all that is energy, wherever you believe we come from. And if you're in a romantic partnership, okay, wherever you are, wherever your love life is, this episode is going to be for you. So if you're in a relationship, if you're in the dating world, if you're single, if you sort of have what do the kids call it? Like a fling, like a situationship. If you're in a situationship, this is going to be for you. It's going to be valuable information for you. Romantic relationships are one of the greatest ways that we as souls grow. There is something that we refer in here, a perspective or a law of the universe that we refer in here as reflections. And romantic relationships, romantic partnership, they're one of the most reflective aspects of this human experience. A reflection is essentially this law of the universe that everything in life is reflecting your dominant vibration. So when you put yourself second in life, you're going to attract people and experiences who put you second, ultimately giving you an opportunity to learn how to put yourself first. Right? When we are hard on ourselves, we are going to attract more people, experiences, circumstances that are hard on us. If we are deficient in love in one or more of the 8 different areas of our life is going to reflect this love deficiency. It's not that you're not loved, but it's going to mirror your energy. The greatest thing about a reflection is it's a catalyst for soul evolution. It's a catalyst for you to activate who you really are. Now, the human self, right? We think, I hate reflections. We're like, I hate when I experience challenge, obstacles, adversity, especially when they are extremely loud. Sometimes they're unbearable, right? But ultimately, this is how we align with our soul path, our soul pole, who we really are. When we align with who we really are, we tap into the love that resides within us. And this is really what Source Clarity is all about. Source Clarity is about harnessing and strengthening the relationship with that who you really are self, with that highest level of brilliance. Life being a reflection means if you feel stupid, like Nikki did when he was a little kid, you're going to attract people and experiences that amplify that feeling. And of course, I had friends that would frequently bring up and make fun of, oh, you're such an idiot, Nikki, whatever it may be. And it ultimately taught me that I was going to stick up for myself and realize I'm not stupid because I didn't like that feeling anymore. And I got to realize through a lot of you who listen to this podcast, you know where I'm going with this. At 16, I had what felt like this spiritual awakening. And in this process, I was like, wait a minute, there is a genius. There is a high level brilliance that resides within each and every one of us. It's just our job to realize it, activate it, focus on it, appreciate it, so on and so forth. So going back to partnership, just to lay a foundation here, romantic relationships are one of the greatest ways that we grow as souls. Now, as an intuitive healer, I get to work with all different kinds of people from all around the world, and I've gotten to work with a large number of romantic partners. And it's pretty interesting. I've had the question asked to me, hey, we really are done with this relationship. Do you think that we should leave? And as an intuitive, I'm looking in at their soul energy, their higher self energy. In a lot of the cases, it's not time to leave because there are soul lessons involved. And so the first thing that people miss in regards to, yes, attracting a romantic relationship is that they are not seeing one of the most valuable aspects that a relationship has to offer. If you're looking to attract a romantic relationship, it has everything to do with what we just talked about. You're like, okay, well, the purpose of a relationship is to align us with who we really are. Who we really are aligns us with a high frequency relationship. Where's Nikki going with this? Where I'm going with this is that a romantic relationship that is in accordance with who you really are. Let me put it this way. Attracting a high frequency romantic relationship is going to require you to align intentionally with your soul pole, soul path. Your soul path, soul pole is going to require you to align with your mission and purpose on this planet. If all of life is a reflection of our energy and we attract what we're a vibrational match for, if you are not emotionally connected to your purpose, if you don't feel that zest and excitement for your purpose in your life, the people, and especially in your dating life, that you are going to attract are going to be a vibrational match to that exact energy that you feel about your purpose. Because ultimately, the thing that most people miss in regards to relationship, they think relationship is supposed to make me happy. And it causes so many problems out there in the world, especially in regards to dating, especially in regards to marriage. It causes so many problems that people think this person is supposed to make me happy. But if you can begin to realize that one of the greatest catalysts for soul evolution is romantic partnership, you could utilize this perspective and this technique to attract a high frequency lover. So the question is, where do I go with this information? Okay? Where most people think, I need to do these practical steps to attract a high frequency lover. Yes, the practical steps are good. What I mean by the practical steps are whatever the dating coach online has to say, meaning, things like things to say to a partner or how to flirt with someone. It's all beneficial, but really to align with your purpose is going to align you with that romantic partnership that you desire to attract. To align with your purpose is going to require you to align with who you really are. If you begin this process of falling in love with your life, and that can be challenging, okay? So I understand easier said than done. But if you begin this process of falling in love with your life, falling in love with all of who you really are, you begin falling in love with you. You begin falling in love with your personality. You begin falling in love with your smile. You begin falling in love with your confidence. You begin falling in love with you. What's going to begin to happen is that as you begin this process of dating, you're going to begin to attract more people that also reflect this love for you. You're going to begin to attract people that are a frequency and vibrational match to falling in love with your smile, falling in love with the things that you have to offer, falling in love with your personality. Now, a big problem in regards to attracting romantic partnership, people lie to themselves. They go, I don't really want a romantic relationship. I'm good. Well, when you develop your intuition, you can look in and be like, nope, that person is literally lying to themselves. And they do. If life is a reflection of our energy, in your dominant focus, whether you think it is or isn't, is I want a romantic relationship, okay? You're going to attract more that amplifies the feeling of, I want a romantic relationship. I really want a romantic relationship. And some of you watching this might be a little bit triggered. You're going, Nikki, no, I really don't. I'm good on my own. Okay, we have this emotional self. We have an ego. And our ego lies to us all the time. Life is mirroring back to us our energy. So the greatest aspect of love in all forms is that it's mirroring back to us. It doesn't lie, right? It's mirroring back to us how we feel about the self. And so for all of you watching this, I want you to begin to see if you can begin to challenge yourself. To begin, instead of looking at sort of the dating world as just the dating world and something just to do because it'll make you happy or whatever it may be. I want you to begin to see the bigger picture in this. Attracting a high frequency lover, it is essential that you align with who you really are. When you align with who you really are and you begin to set your sights on aligning with your purpose and your mission. Let's say you're already in a romantic relationship, all right? What's going to begin to happen is you're going to strengthen the relationship with that current partnership. Okay, let's say you have a situationship. You have a person that's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Well, if all of life is reflecting our energy, they are simply reflecting where you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out of your purpose. Maybe you're oscillating between, I don't know if I have purpose. Yes, I do have purpose. No, I don't have purpose. What do I do with my purpose? Whatever it may be. They're reflecting your energy. But if you could begin to realize that connecting with your core essence, you're going to attract someone else that is connected with their core essence. If you can align with your appreciation for self, you're going to attract a lover that's in accordance with that's in alignment with appreciating themselves. You'll begin to see this as a spiritual process. Now, again, what happens with a lot of people in the dating world, especially more than ever, is they're like, I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to sit in a corner and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to attract my dream romantic partnership. They're going to throw a rock at my window, throw flowers on my balcony, and have a little radio on their shoulder with a love song, right? Maybe a little Justin Bieber, you smile, I smile, right? And or maybe like some old song from the 70s. You know, that scene from a movie where the guy's just throwing rocks at the window, right? And we're like, I'm going to manifest that. Here's another problem in regards to that line of thinking. To attract a high frequency lover, it is essential that we see our partner everywhere. Because if we attract what we're a vibrational match for, if we attract what we're a vibrational match for, and life is reflecting our dominant vibration, to attract that high frequency lover is going to require us to feel like that lover is already all around us. And so I remember the first time that I got on the dating app Hinge. Yay, I was super resistant. And for any of you that are in this community and you've been following along for a little while, you know that the first date I went on, I actually thought it went pretty well, but then I got ghosted after. And I started to ask myself this question. I was like, all right, where am I ghosting myself? Where am I not prioritizing the self? And I looked in intuitively and I'm like, oh my gosh, she was just reflecting how I felt about my career at that time. I felt emotionally unattracted to my career. So I attracted someone that didn't feel attracted to me in that way, obviously, to go on a second date. And I shifted the reflection, meaning I began to change my perspective in regards to career. And I began to fall in love with my career again, have this high level of appreciation. Not only did I attract more abundance in regards to career, but dating on Hinge began to literally explode. And what I began to practice is seeing the perfection of each person on this date. Okay, this is another high level skill set that typically we would give in our advanced offerings, but I'm going to give it to you here. Okay, it's essentially seeing the perfection in each person that you go on a date with. So again, when I work with people and I get to work with people that are looking to attract a high frequency lover, and they maybe go on some dates, they're kind of like, well, each person that I attract, they're not the person I want to be with. And I'm like, are you sure? Right? Like when you're on that date, you're with that person. If life is reflecting our energy, what if we were to extract the information and data from there to see, oh my gosh, okay, I'm attracting someone on a date that is boring. Where am I feeling bored in my own life if life is a mirror? And remember, to attract a high frequency lover is to begin to tap into the love that resides within you. To attract a high frequency lover is going to require you to feel high level of appreciation for you and your life and your purpose. And so where I'm getting at with all of this, one of the greatest ways to attract a high frequency lover is to take what we in this community call Maya, that messy aligned intuitive action. And if I were to put it simply, go on dates and see your partner in anyone that you date. If you go on these dates and you go, wow, this person that I went on a date with had the eyes of my lover. If you go on another date and wow, this one had the humor of my lover. Wow, this one had the manners, like he was well-mannered. He has the manners of my lover. And you start to see your lover everywhere. And life is mirroring your energy. You're going to become closer and closer to that person you're meant to be with. Life is ultimately preparing us all the time with what we desire to attract. The thing that holds people back more than anything from attracting the things that they desire is lack of action, especially in regards to dating. There are so many people out there that have this high desire to attract a lover, someone that is complementary of their spirit and soul. But there is lack of action. There is this hopeful energy. There is this wanting energy, even when they tell themselves they don't. Yes, I'm calling you out watching this. You know who you are. Yeah, you can't hide. You know who you are. Yeah, yes, you. So there's this high level wanting. There's this lack of action, and that begins to compound and grow. And the evidence that you begin to find in your life is, wow, no one wants to be in love with me. Or maybe you go on one date and it doesn't go so well, and you begin to take it personal instead of taking radical accountability and go, life is mirroring my energy. Instead of doing that, you look in and you're like, oh man, I take it personal. If you can begin to take radical accountability for your life and understand this law of the universe that all of life is reflecting your energy, and understand energy is neither created nor destroyed. Hear me out on this. So that means your dream romantic relationship is happening. It's literally happening right now, even though you think it's not. You will begin to enjoy the process of things like dating. You will let go of lying to yourself and begin to neutralize that high level wanting. Because remember, when you're really wanting, life is mirroring your energy. You're going to reflect that back to you in your life. And this is what caused a lot of the problems in the dating world. It is a high level of wanting and lying to the self and saying, I don't really want. And it's attempting to manifest without taking that action. What happens when you take action, meaning go on dates, put yourself out there. For you ladies that are watching this, go to a coffee shop and smile at a nice young boy, okay? Smile, whatever you have to do. Put yourself out there in the world. What you'll begin to realize is that there is spiritual evolution that will happen. You will begin to align more with your purpose and your mission, because there might be scenarios where someone rejects you. It's through the challenge, remember, that soul evolution happens. It's through soul evolution that you align with your purpose. It's through aligning with your purpose that you align with that dream romantic partnership. You guys get what I'm getting at here? If all of life is reflecting our energy, then when you go on these dates and it's uncomfortable, maybe you attracted someone that was boring. Maybe you attracted someone, we went over this already. Maybe you attracted someone who had a lack of humor that was too serious. Anytime I go on dates now, it's data for me. It is an opportunity to show up with integrity, to meet an amazing soul, not hopefully, and have this optimism that we are changing each other's lives. And it's an opportunity to learn more about myself through how I feel about this process. Literally, getting ghosted on that first Hinge date changed my life. Because I had to self-reflect. I didn't like the feeling. I had an ego thinking, I won't get rejected. That was all ego just to protect me. It hurt when I did, because it was my ego telling me that I wasn't actually rooted to that feeling. And so ultimately through that process, I was able to take accountability for my life and activate the information that I share. But if I'm sitting in a corner like, I don't want to go on a Hinge date, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, whatever it may be, it holds us back from that soul evolution, right? Because energy, it's not created and it's not destroyed. We learned this in the 4th grade, I think, okay? Quantum physics has shown us that all of life is energy, and energy neither created nor destroyed. Your dream romantic relationship is energy. Let me say this again. Your dream romantic relationship is energy. So let's think about this. I'm going to go through this again, but I want you to sit with where I'm going with this. Your dream romantic relationship is energy. Quantum physics has shown us that energy is neither created nor destroyed, that everything in this universe, it is energy. If it's not created nor destroyed, that means energetically, your dream romantic relationship is happening right now. It might be split into a bunch of different areas. Maybe you get some of that dream romantic partnership from a friend that you love. Maybe you get some of that dream romantic partnership from scrolling on social media, and you are seeing people that you're attracted to. Okay, think about this. It's happening all around you. If you would like to attract a high frequency romantic partnership into one person, it's going to require you to have high level of appreciation, and then you can move that energy where you want it to be. You can move it into one person. You can do it, whatever it may be. You have everything that you desire technically. Okay, I'm gonna blow your guys' minds with this. Someone that is living on the street and doesn't have any money is as abundant as someone that has $1 billion. All right, someone living on the street that energy might all be channeled into time. So that person living on the street has an abundance of time. They have an abundance of time to think. They have an abundance of space if they're living on the street. That person that has an abundance of money may not have an abundance of time, or maybe they don't have an abundant family life. People that have billions of dollars have been known, not everyone, to have a difficult family life. Maybe they have a lot of money, but a lack of connection with their social life, whatever it may be. So the idea is asking yourself this question, and this is another aspect in attracting a relationship that most of the spiritual world isn't talking about, which is to understand if energy is not created nor destroyed, your dream romantic relationship is happening right now. Ask yourself where some of that relationship exists that you would like it to be more into one person. Again, if you're scrolling on social media longer than you feel you should be, and you're scrolling and looking at attractive people, or you're watching something like pornography, that dream romantic relationship, the energy of it is being channeled into those places. And if energy is not created nor destroyed, you won't be able to get it in this other area. So the idea is to clean up your life a little bit. All right, take that action, go out into the dating world, start to recognize your dream romantic relationship and all the people that you go with, start to feel connected with your purpose, start to see all the goodness that resides within you, clean up your life a little bit, and you will begin to realize that the challenges don't go away, but you will begin creating momentum in attracting the things that you're asking for, like a romance that is complementary of your spirit. So many of us are like, I want. I want that dream romantic relationship. But I want to challenge you and ask you this question. What is it that you really want? And what you really desire is the feelings. You want the feelings of an open heart. You want the feelings of freedom. You want the feelings of feeling seen. And the question I would ask you guys is, how often are you intentionally opening up your heart? How often are you intentionally seeing you for who you really are? How intentionally are you adventuring, right? A lot of people want a romantic relationship to feel that sense of adventure for life. How often are you taking that adventure, right? Taking life by the horns and taking that adventure. Romantic relationships also have challenges, leaning into the challenges, seeing life as a gift, right? So the question that you can begin asking yourself as a takeaway from this episode of Source Clarity is, what do I want? What are the feelings I want from a relationship? I want compatibility. Okay, what are the feelings? Well, I guess I'd feel an open heart. I guess I'd feel high level of passion. I guess I would feel a zest and excitement for life. I guess I'd feel purposeful. I guess I would feel joyful. All right, great. Now, again, easier said than done, but how do I begin this process of climbing the mountain of joy, right? Sometimes it does feel like climbing a mountain, but how can I begin in small steps to begin this process of intentionally giving myself the thing that I think a romantic relationship will bring me? How can I begin to feel purposeful? How can I begin to feel connected with something larger than who I am? Because the truth is, there is a highest expression of self. And that highest expression of self, source energy, is animating all of who you are. You are an aspect of source energy. And source placed you on this planet with a mission and a purpose. And when we don't feel connected with that mission and our purpose, we start to want other things to fill that void. Maybe we want a lot of money because we think it'll fill that void of not feeling connected with our purpose. Are you destined to have a lot of money? Can you attract financial abundance? Yeah, absolutely. When you align with your purpose, absolutely. But maybe you're wanting the money because you don't, again, that feeling of wanting, because you're not feeling connected with your purpose. Maybe you're wanting that dream romantic relationship because you are not feeling connected with your purpose. Maybe you're wanting to have junk food because you're not feeling connected with your purpose. And what your purpose has to offer is challenge. What your purpose has to offer is obstacle. But there's also joy. There's also happiness because you were built to do it. And what most people don't understand in attracting a romantic partnership, it goes hand in hand with aligning with that mission and that purpose. You might be asking, well, Nikki, this sounds pretty cool. Okay, so to attract a relationship, you're giving away all this information, right? You're okay. So we align with our purpose and our mission. We let go of focusing on wanting it. Okay, what are some of the other things that we shared? Oh, we see that every energy is either created or destroyed. So we start to realize our partnership that resides everywhere. Great, this is so fun. Where do I go with this information though? How do I align with my purpose? There is this intrinsic brilliance that resides within each and every one of you. There's a high level intelligence. There's a guiding light. There's a North Star known as intuition that resides within you. And when you begin the process of developing your intuition, you begin the process of living life guided by who you really are. When you begin living life guided by who you really are, you begin to attract people who are also living guided by who they really are. When you begin living life guided by who you really are, you begin living life guided by happiness and joy. And you begin to attract more joy through people and experiences in romantic partnership. So this process in developing your intuition, it positively affects all the different areas of life. And I want to preface this, it doesn't mean there isn't challenges. There are challenges, for sure. There are challenges, right? But that is where the soul evolution happens. And so for a lot of us that, because I remember experiencing this for so long, lying to myself, well, I don't want this, I don't want that. And go through this process of lying to ourselves. This is about a total realization of who you really are. Really, everything in life is soul evolution. But really, to grow is to step into the unknown. To grow is to take that Maya in life, that messy, aligned, intuitive action, to get the things that you're asking for. It's not that it's going to be perfect. It's not that you're going to go on a bunch of dates and it's going to be all perfect. But you're going to learn about who you really are. You're going to learn how to authentically love yourself. You're going to learn how to authentically fall in love with who you are and your physical body and your mind and your brilliance and your emotions and all of that. It is through the challenge that we get to recognize what we are made of. Attracting a high frequency romantic relationship, it's your destiny. It is possible. But again, a lot of things hold us back from attracting it. And I've shared this story before, but I'm going to share it again. When I was in middle school, I first began learning about the laws of the universe. I began to get so excited. I saw this movie known as The Secret. I think maybe a lot of you have heard of that, but it was all about the law of attraction. And there was a lot of misinformation in The Secret. But I was in 6th grade at this time, and I'm like, wow, my mind was blown. There was something within me going, I can do this. And I had a crush on this girl in the 6th grade. And I was like, okay, I'm going to utilize these techniques that they teach, and I'm going to attract this girl to fall in love with me, okay? And little 6th grade Nikki. And I remember at that time, all of this stuff resonated with me, meaning things in regards to manifestation and attracting your dream life, and all the information that I had extracted from The Secret, it resonated, but it didn't make sense on a brain level. And the way that I explain this to people is, it's sort of like if a math teacher wrote out a complex math equation on the chalkboard or whiteboard, and they're explaining it to you, and it resonated. You're like, that makes sense on a soul level, on a heart level, but still your brain had a hard time understanding how it was possible. So in the 6th grade, I remember consciously feeling that way, going, this resonates deeply, but it doesn't fully make sense yet. And my dad, who's like the best, I love my dad, he raised me on this line of thinking. He showed me that movie, and he would have us visualize before our basketball games and imagine the ball going in and stuff. And I always had a hard time with it because I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't realize it was the feeling. So going back to this girl, I'm like, I'm going to integrate a technique that I learned from The Secret. And every day after school, I would write, 10 to 20 times on a piece of paper, her first and last name loves my first and last name, Nikki Moriarty. I'd write her first and last name loves my first and last name. Eventually, I had these stacks of paper, and I would hide them in this cabinet in my house. And I remember it didn't work. And I was like, I don't know why this isn't working. Looking back now, I know exactly why it wasn't working. Because I didn't understand how this worked, which is to attract anything in life is to feel as if you have it. And every time I wrote her first and last name loves my first and last name, I was hoping that she would like me. And as I wrote that down every day, I began to feel this hopeful feeling. That hopeful feeling began to expand. And as I wrote that every single day, the distance between me and that girl began to grow. It was because the universe is reflecting our dominant vibration. The universe is reflecting how we feel. And it doesn't matter what the technique is, even if the technique is a high frequency technique, which that is not a high frequency technique to put someone else's name. No, do not do that. That causes a litany of problems in the spiritual world, all this stuff, okay? So I do not recommend that. I didn't know at the time. But anyway, my point with this is, if you're focused on high level hope, okay, hope, believe it or not, is actually pretty dangerous. If you're focused on high level hope, high level wanting, whatever it may be, you're going to attract what it is you are a vibrational match for. When I went on that first Hinge date and I got ghosted, I had a lack of confidence. I didn't feel confident that she would go on that second. I had a false set of confidence, but I didn't have this unwavering knowing that in connection to my purpose in these different areas of my life. And she simply reflected that. But as I began to progress in the dating world and traverse through the dating world, I realized that is an incredible tool to learn more about the self. It's an incredible tool to open up the heart, to move in integrity, to get to know another soul that is also nervous to go out into the dating world. You grow, you expand. And there are so many people that feel as if they have to stay comfortable, right? They're like, I gotta stay comfortable because if I get rejected, it's gonna be bad. The greatest dating tip that I could ever give you in attracting a high frequency love is to be okay with the rejection. Literally be okay with it. Like anytime I approach someone, I remember I was in Maui, Hawaii, and I met a wonderful young lady. And I remember I felt this intuitive pull to go up to her and talk to her and just create a conversation. I was like, wow, she's really pretty and all these other things. And my mind was slipping to this place of doubt, fear, and worry. And I actually legitimately began to combat those thoughts with, I hope I get rejected, right? Because it decreased my wanting. If you can see the good in what you don't want, that decreases your wanting. So these are just some techniques that we have. Okay, these are some advanced stuff as well, but these are just some techniques that we have. But it's like literally being like, I hope it's attacking what you're afraid of and hoping that it happens, because you will see the good in it. Source, the all that is, wherever you believe we come from, sees the perfection in everything. And the reason why we attract obstacles in our life is so we realize the perfection in it, right? If I get rejected, I'm going to learn the perfection in loving all of who I really am, and knowing my value has nothing to do with if I get rejected. If I can get ahead of that lesson and see the perfection in it before, now I've aligned with more of what I'm asking for. And in regards to attracting a high frequency lover, if you can begin to lean into your fears a little bit, if you can begin to lean into your fears and take it as data if it doesn't work out, and change the way that you're going about this process, it will absolutely change your whole entire life. Just like strengthening the physical body, okay? It is when the muscle breaks down that you create space to create a stronger muscle. It is no different than anything. When I first learned to play the guitar, for those that have been in this community for a minute, you know, and anyone that is a musician, it hurt my fingers. I'm like, this isn't working. Guitar teacher, help me. I was attempting to do these bar chords. He's like, dude, just keep doing it. Keep at it. And eventually, I got the bar chords. And I was blown away. I was so impressed. One of my friends has a little puppy. Her name is Prada. And I've been helping my friend train her beautiful little puppy. I'm obsessed with her. And there's this challenging moment, this little buffer where the dog isn't listening. And you have to take the dog back to sit, stay, hold it. Nope, the dog gets up, sit, stay, hold it, sit, stay, hold it. It's uncomfortable. It is challenging. But through that action, right, leaning into the discomfort, because it is a little bit annoying at first, eventually the dog begins to stay. Attracting a high frequency lover is no different. It's going to be challenging at first to love yourself a little bit deeper. It's going to be challenging at first to put yourself out there. It's going to be challenging at first to extract the data if you get rejected. It's going to be challenging at first to align with your purpose and your mission. But ultimately, the long-term reward outweighs by 1,000,000 the short-term challenge of having to go through that process. So ultimately, you guys got a lot of information at once. Aligning with your purpose and mission aligns you with the high frequency lover. Loving yourself on a deep level aligns you with the high frequency lover. Understanding that life is reflecting our energy, and that high level wanting, the feeling of want, is going to repel a high frequency lover. Okay, so all of this to say is that if we were to simplify it, life is reflecting your energy. However, whatever your experience in the dating world is, it is literally reflecting your energy and how you feel about yourself and your life. However you feel about your dating life is how you feel about your life, and you have the power to change that. There is a brilliance within you. There is a purpose within you. You're not just here by accident. You are here with a mission and a purpose. I've gotten the privilege of getting to work with the most incredible souls all around the world. And my job is to help them see that purpose. My job is to help them align with their purpose. And I help people from all around the world develop their intuition, because yes, intuition, we refer to it as the language of light. It is understanding the language of your soul, the language of the higher self, the language of source. It is intrinsic within each and every one of us, but it requires us to learn about it, to get to know it. Like learning any other language, it has its challenges, but through the process, you begin living life guided by your purpose. And when you live life guided by your purpose, you live life guided by who you really are. When you're connected with who you really are and you're in alignment with your purpose, that is the recipe for success. That is one of the biggest keys to attracting what it is that you desire. A high frequency relationship and aligning with your soul mission and purpose go hand in hand. There's something that I share with a lot of the people that I get to work with. When we refer to something like the spiritual world, it's sort of vague. It's like, what does that mean? Like if someone says, I'm spiritual, right? And a lot of religious people will sort of point to this. And then, new age spiritual people will kind of be like, well, what's wrong with that? What's the problem? And I kind of understand where some of these religious people are coming from, because it isn't totally defined. If I say I'm spiritual, what does that mean? Do I get my spirituality from plant medicine? Do I get my spirituality from what? Like what is it that I subscribe to? And so the thing that I share with the people that I get to work with is that we call this the higher self path, or aligning with your source clarity self. That's specifically what this is. You don't extract the source clarity self through plant medicine or anything. You get it through developing your intuition. You get it from tapping into who you really are. And when you walk the higher self path, everything in your life you begin to realize the meaning that everything has in your life. The obstacles, the challenges, all the things that you've experienced from your past. And you'll see that things like romantic relationship, you'll see things like money are highly spiritual. Your career is highly spiritual. Politics, yes, believe it or not, I know it's a whole different subject, is highly spiritual. And they have taken spirituality out of politics, which is why it's become so corrupt, crazy, and noisy out there in the world. That's a topic for another day. But I want you guys to begin to understand aligning with your purpose and your mission. That's where the goodness resides in your life. We have all these kinds of ways to begin this process. For those that have a poll, feel free to reach out to the team. Okay, I'm sure there's information below, and if you're interested to explore these processes of getting to know yourself on deeper and deeper levels and strengthen the relationship with your intuition and all that for the go-getters out there, and for all of you that have watched this episode of Source Clarity, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this community, whether it's your first time, whether it's your 100th time, your 8th time, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Source Clarity. You are so dang wonderful. Yes, we put this out on Valentine's Day, so this is a Valentine's Day special. And yes, Valentine's Day is really, if all of life is reflecting our energy, it's all about aligning with your core essence, loving who you really are. Alrighty, friends, we'll be back next Saturday with another episode. Stay awesome and authentic. All right, y'all. Peace.